we just got a chip on our shoulder, and we ready to get back to it.
You got a room full of really young, talented guys. Do you sense that momentum?
Oh yeah, for sure. Every guy in the room is good. I feel like this is the best. As me being here, since my rookie year, this is the best collective group that we have had since our rookie year. I believe myself.
Last year at this time, you're talking about some of the steps you want to take forward in terms of playing the deep ball better, things like that. How do you feel like you were able to maybe take your game to another level last year?
We're just building confidence, repetition, and just the experience. I feel like that played a part. With me just being out there, getting time to learn, and knowing what positions, what angles to take to make plays on the ball. I feel like last year was a big step for me.
You don't have any pick sixes in your career. Does a day like today kind of put that out there that's something that you want to get in the end zone and you're taking steps toward getting in the end zone this year?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I told Schneider, he gonna want me as a return man if I get my hands on the ball this year, because I'm taking it to the zone, and I'm not letting up this year.
Fred Warner was talking last season about how rare it was that a corner played inside and outside as well as you did at both of them, and even real top outside corners don't do that very often. Go inside, but you seem to be so seamless at it. What do you think about your skill set enables you to do that?
I really just believe it's the mindset. Some guys is wired different, and I believe I'm one of them guys. I always put the challenge on myself. I don't never point fingers. I take my L's as a man and turn them into lessons.
When did you tell Schneider that?
I told him this last year, but then I didn't fulfill the promise. So this year is gonna carry over.
When you talk about going back and forth inside now, was there a point where you felt super comfortable doing both? Like, were you thinking through things initially, and did you reach a point where it's real natural?
I would say my comfortability game was probably the Eagles game. We played a lot of man coverage that game. We got towards the end of the game, we was like in the red zone, and I gave up a catch to Devontae Smith on like the scramble drill, and I felt like me giving up that catch, I was more irritated than anything, not even at the call, but just at myself, because I know I'm better than that. And that would led into the hit, and just after that, I just felt like I belong, with playing both. Like that was my comfortability. That's just who I am.
You're talking the regular season game?
Yes.
Probably gave you confidence too, didn't you? Or the whole.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was just. I felt like that was just me making a statement. With just in the playoffs being able to do it at the highest level. I felt like that was just me getting my feet wet, and then the next year was my takeoff.
A couple more for Demo.
Demo, did you work at the Mamba Center again this year, and what did you do this offseason?
Oh yeah, I didn't work out there. I worked out at like Era Performance in Newport. Shout out to them. With just getting me strong and fast and explosive. I feel like they part of this. This journey that we about to go on.
You've been working with Brandon Staley for the first time. He's working with you one-on-one a lot. What's your impression of him so far? Oh,
he's a genius. I really respect him, as a coach, as a person, the joy he brings to our room, and with just the knowledge, of teaching us so many things, it's a blessing to have him there.
Is there something specific that you've learned from him that you're just like, wow, I never thought of this like that before, or something?
Playing the angles of football, and playing the percentages. He kind of told me like the percentages of you getting a fade every down is less likely. So why would you play that? With the start of the downs. Actually think when you out there, you already got the talent.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Appreciate you.
Everybody? Good. Good. Go ahead. Any questions you guys have?
So what do you know now about the kickoff rule that you didn't know the last time we talked to you?
Well, you can't put the tee or the ball on the tee flat like that. That's what I do know, and there's probably going to be more changes. That's the other thing I know. So we'll deal with it as they come.
Did you guys do that earlier in camp before you were told not to?
No, we messed around with some different things, but that's one of the things you looked at or heard about. But yeah, that's off the table now. So we'll just go with how it ever plays out.
Of what you look for in the kicker change in terms of, obviously hang time and distance may be less important than how you can control those line drive kicks and things like that. What's the difference from?
Yeah, you just said it. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. Hang time does not matter at all anymore. So placement, where you're going with it, or I think what a lot of things are going to happen, and we call them dirty balls, where once it hits the ground, that's when everyone can move. So whether it's that extreme or just more of a line drive, that's what I think is going to happen. So more target practice, basically, instead of hang time is out. Doesn't matter.
And from what you've seen in
Good.
those aspects?
Yeah, no, good. That's something he's been working on all summer, and he's been preparing for it, and that it just changes. Their whole lives, kickers have been told hang time number one and placement, and now hang time's out, so it's really just placement.
Have you done any research on defensive guys who have played soccer?
We ask everybody, and you have to have a guy to do that. And I think with the position player, if you had one, there's just a lot that goes into it, through the game, if he's playing, if he gets sore. And, it's if you get outside the target line, if you get outside the 20, that's a pretty big penalty starting on the 40. So that's going to happen too with guys that don't kick every day, So we don't have a guy, but we'll see who does it.
I'm sure you saw Debo lobbying for getting some kickoffs. I'm sure that decision will be made by Kyle. But is there something to that where a guy powerful like that can hit the middle and only the kicker's going to be there?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that nobody knows what it's going to look like. The one thing I do know, though, is you have to have returners that can get to the ball. Just with what I said about the kickers, when you take hang time out of it, it's going to start in simplest form to me as a kicker and returner game, because they're the only ones that can move until the ball either touches somebody or hits the ground. So right there, simplify that to me is like, okay, that's where it starts. So that's where the game starts to me.
It looked like Moody broke the team down at the end of practice today.
Yeah, Kyle brought him up there, yep.
I'll say about that, and how has Moody performed?
Moody's done a really nice job. It's always fun seeing guys in their second year come in the building when camp starts. I saw it in Jake, you see it in D. Winters, you see it in Graham, you see it in those guys. It's just a whole different feel where their body feels like, how comfortable they are. They know exactly what it looks like. So they're all really excited, and Jake was no different on that. It's just a different mentality coming in year two.
Second year, Luder obviously had a mishap in the Super Bowl. How has you've seen him respond from that?
Luder's great. Luder is a great worker. He gets better every day. He was on PUP for a while last year, I think, so it took him longer to develop. But no, he's excellent. He works great. Love him.
When you're looking at the punt returners, and you have Trent Taylor back there, who's very experienced. Is he more of a natural fielder of the punt than maybe Ricky Pearsall? He seems like he's learning how to do it.
I would say Trent is just so good because so many reps he's had. The punt return is a thing of reps. So the more reps you see at the ball flight, the different nose, where the ball's going, and just fielding the ball. So Trent is excellent back there. He's done it for so long, so confident, so cool. And so it's really cool to get all those guys as many reps as we can and helping everybody. It's about just getting the reps. So that's where he looks really natural at it.
You tried multiple combinations back there for kick returner. Are you still kind of working through what you're looking for, or is the idea that, hey, we may have multiple combinations that we use at various points this year?
We're trying everyone there. Basically, every running back is back there. The receivers, we're trying everybody. And I think what I'm anticipating what it looks like, and I'd rather anticipate this way, is all the different kind of balls you're going to get. And I think when you can move returners around, again, the cat and mouse game, but also there's a lot, like you put Debo and Juice back there. They have a real instinctual piece about them. Like when like my job as a coach is to give them any tells we have, to let them know where we think the ball is going by alignment, by the kicker, by the wind, whatever it is. Give them that information so they can anticipate where the ball is going. But now there's some just internal instincts that really good football players have that I don't know if they can tell you why they felt something, but moving with the kicker as he comes. So it's all about fielding a ball clean. So if I'm on kickoff return, when we're doing kickoff return, if we can field the ball clean, we have all the advantage. There is no advantage for the kickoff team. It's zero. If on our kickoff team, as we're covering, if we can get the returner not catch it clean, that's the only advantage I see for a kickoff team. Or the hit the ground, go into the end zone, and now the ball's at the 20. So another dirty ball is the way we look at it. So that's where I see, and if it's not that, it's not that, but I want to start there.
Juice in particular, just because they have so much experience, in the run game, like in the actual offense, is that almost how you have to view it? Is like, hey, there's an element here too if these guys are familiar in that way, in terms of like Debo running behind Juice or whatever.
Yeah, if it turns into trying to steal possessions from our team, or it turns into trying to win field position by kicking dirty balls and that's what teams, because in special teams try to attack us that way. We've had multiple teams try to fake punts against us, to steal another possession. So going into that, I almost kind of look at it, you have to have your best players back there if that's what they're doing. And think of hands team. When we do a hands team at the end of a game, we have all our best players there. And the reason they're there is they're our best players. They have the instinct, the ability, whatever it is, the no hesitation, something told them to do something and they move on it. So that's kind of how we look at it. And we're trying a bunch of different guys there, see who has the skill set there.
Have you talked to Chris Furster at all, just in terms of like blocking schemes, big picture on those returns?
Absolutely, yeah. The kickoff return looks more like an offense or defensive play than a kickoff or a kickoff return. So all those principles, I think it's way more comparable on an offense and defense, how it's lined up. The difference is how we get there on a kickoff return is different than how offense and defense get there. But once you get engaged, all football rules are the same. So that's the thing we're trying to figure out is where are our eyes going, where's our helmet going, what is our steps, how are we getting there, how do we get to that spot, and then it's really just a football play. It's a offense, defensive play where leverage, hand placement, footwork, eyes, physicality, all of it. So that's what we're trying to figure out, and we don't know what it looks like yet.
Taking all that into account, in these three preseason games, are you going to get more out of this than you've gotten out of preseason in years?
Absolutely. I can't wait for Thursday night to see what it looks like. So every preseason game, I don't think it's going to end until the end of the season. Think of, like I just compared it to an offensive defensive play, right? The fundamentals of football haven't changed all that much. We know all those answers. But like take Kyle's offense, right? The outside zone that he was running here in 17, there's probably a lot more wrinkles to it now. In fact, there is a lot more wrinkles to it now because they have so much history on it. They start scheming on it. You see what the defense is doing, and it evolves. No one has any information on this play. Zero. So as the plays happen, as schemes happen, as you see things and put what they're doing, what works with us, what we've already done, it's going to be constantly evolving until we get enough information on it. And then you can start moving. So it's going to be an adjustment all year.
Talk to other special teams coaches around the league or guys in your position around the league being real inquisitive with one another about this to try to conquer this whole thing?
Well, that question was asked in spring, and we had a couple big all special teams. I think we had 3 Zoom meetings. So it was really clear to everybody. I talked to a couple guys I know, and they were being quiet. I haven't talked to anybody. So the tape is going to be the work,
You haven't seen this play live very much, right? You practice this play, but as far as live reps of it, how many reps have we seen of it live?
Whatever you call in practice live, whatever we can do, which is going to be different when it actually is tackling and when that's the difference, the speed. Like, we know how fast guys run down the field. In all the kickoffs I've ever coached and our players have ever run, we know exactly how fast the guys are. We know exactly what moves they do. We know when they go backdoor or away from the return if they have enough speed to get there. So you take all that speed out, and now we don't know what it looks like when a returner is going left. I don't know if I can go backdoor. I don't know if I can go and have enough speed to get there. So all those things, and now those decisions have to be made within this 5 yards. So think of it last year. If I'm on the kickoff team and all of us are running, The ball's kicked, we're moving. We have 4 seconds to take in all the information that the other team has given us. How the returner, where he's moving, what is the blocking scheme, how deep are they going. So guys have always processed a kickoff that way, running full speed and all these indicators getting them to the football. Now, and just think of this. I mean, every play these guys have ever done, when the ball is snapped, everybody moves, right? When the ball is kicked, everybody moves. And then that's how they've trained their whole life on moving and making decisions. Now the ball's kicked, they don't move. And now they have to process all that thing without moving. And to me, it might sound like, yeah, that's easy. I don't know if it is easy. Some guys can't process all that. They have to process a totally different way. So that's where we started. Let's start there, because we don't know what everything else looks like. But what is different about this play? How can we train our eyes and our footwork and our decision-making with the information we have now? And then when it happens really fast. So if you're false stepping, if you don't have a plan, it's going to be too quick.
Can the athleticism of a long snapper of Tabor be something that can tip the scales at this point now?
In terms of?
The return, like they can be more involved. Like it's not something that, it doesn't appear that maybe the athleticism of a long snapper was as valued as maybe it is now when you're in this situation.
Yeah, for punts, that's always going to be it. But for kickoffs, Pep would not be involved in that. He'll just do the punt stuff. And we always work on him trying to be a factor in coverage, because those are always the best long snappers, is the ones that can be a factor.
Last one? All right, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
any help you can find. No.
That's crazy. Unfortunately, I think that guy got like 30 people. I saw another like local media guy had the same thing. What's his name? Akash? Yeah.
Is it true yesterday was your first Veterans Day off ever?
It's my first one. It only took 12 years, but I embraced it.
Is it strange?
A little bit, yeah. I had to ask Christian for tips. He's well versed in them. But yeah, no, it was something Kyle and I had talked about before training camp about mixing a few in this year, and I think it was good for me. I felt fresh today.
Brian Schneider was just in here talking about kick return stuff. We've seen you and Debo kind of working together.
Yeah.
What's your take on just kind of the new rule and maybe
Yeah.
your interest in being involved in that?
Yeah, I think it's super interesting, and just my gut feeling is that I think it's going to be like a much bigger play than a lot of people anticipate. There's like some real opportunities for big plays, and I think I could help in that. I think Debo could definitely help in that. I think we could be a good combo back there because there's a lot of moving parts, and there has to be kind of a natural feel for those returners back there. And sometimes it's just things that you just have to be able to play off each other well, and I think we do that good. But I'm really excited. I think this could be a really big deal and could really change field position.
About a natural feel, is there an element of just like it feels like an offensive play, particularly with you and Debo, where you?
It really is a lot. It's basically a wide zone play once you get the ball in your hands. But I think that's going to be one of the hardest things is getting the ball in your hands. I think it's going to be kind of a game of keep away. I think the kickers are really going to try and mix it up with different balls and make it hard to field and all that kind of stuff. But once you get that ball, it's really like a wide zone where you're pressing your gap and cutting off of people, and I do kind of see it like an offensive play.
As far as days off, do you and the team in general have to look ahead to January and possibly playing deep into January, and are you sort of looking at that now and sort of kind of gauging where you'll be?
Right. Like yes and no. Like I'm not necessarily like thinking specifically about January and all that, but I do think we're all very conscious and more aware of how long of a season it is, and how long of seasons it's been for us the last 4 or 5 years, and you do need to like think about that now in pacing yourself. It's so like yesterday, it's our first day in pads, and I'm like, even it's my off day, but I'm itching to get out there because you're just natural competitors, you're football players. Like first day of pads is like a kind of a ceremonious day, but you got to remind yourself like, all right, me going out and proving myself here on the first day of pads. What are we doing? Like that's not the goal. The goal is to be healthy throughout the season and deep into the season, and so managing those reps early on will help that down the road.
When you look back at last season, is there any thought that the way that you began the playoffs, which I think everybody agrees wasn't quite your peak against Green Bay and early on against the Lions, did that have anything to do with season-long fatigue, or was it the Week 17 game? Or
I don't know, honestly. I don't. There's. It's tough to say. Yeah, because we kind of had that Week 17 where not everybody played and we had a bye week. But you're always juggling health versus rhythm, and what to do in those scenarios. But I think you guys can tell me for sure. But I think the math would say that health and like people who have that bye week typically, the math has said that they have a better chance of making the Super Bowl. So I think it's smart to rest guys and have them healthy. But you're always playing that game of rhythm versus freshness.
You were pretty eloquent, I thought, after the Super Bowl, talking immediate aftermath about the need to come back and try again. And then you go through an offseason that has a contract thing that couldn't have been real fun for you to go through,
Yeah.
while other guys are cashing in the opposite direction in terms of money. What was your thought process in putting all that together and coming back?
Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts, and it changed as the days went on. You know, obviously, like, I wasn't too happy when I was first presented with that, but it's one of those things that you kind of have to work through it. And at the end of the day, like, I feel like I have the best opportunity in the world to play here for the Niners, and I do think that I'm being taken care of, you know, in a good way as a fullback on this team, and I am happy with my role. And yeah, like, you know, my ego took some shots, but at the end of the day, I want to be on a team that all these superstars are getting paid this, you know, more money, because that means they did something pretty good the year before, and I feel a part of that. So all in all, you know, I'm just happy to be on this team and have another opportunity to go win a Super Bowl.
Does it feel like business issues are sort of hanging over this team in a way that it hasn't in the past 7 years?
No, just because I feel like every year there's kind of been someone in that position. Honestly, I feel kind of well versed in it, and it really is something that, like, in the locker room, we don't take personally, and we understand, like, you know, guys go through that stuff, and a lot of guys have gone through it ourselves. So I think there's a good understanding in the locker room of it.
When you know, Brock had 4 of his final 5 passes intercepted today. The one he didn't was to you. But
Yeah.
What's his demeanor like? And because this is camp where you should try to fit things into windows. Does he dismiss it? Does that competitive rage come out of him? It just seems like he understands this camp.
Yeah. Quite honestly, I didn't really observe him after that, so I can't say exactly. But just kind of going off of just Brock, you know, the 3 years that I've been with him, that I mean, he's a super competitive guy, and he expects a lot of himself. But he always seems to handle those things well. You know, he's not throwing a temper tantrum or anything like that. But he's still hard on himself, and he generally stays pretty positive. So I didn't see him exactly, but that's what I'd expect.
What do you think of the new guys in the room with Taylor and Garendo and Schrader?
Been impressed. Been really impressed with those guys. I think we have a really special running back room. Quite honestly, I think this is the best running back room I've ever been in. From top to bottom, I think we got some really good players, and been particularly impressed with Cody Schrader. He's works his absolute tail off. He's very intelligent. And he goes out there and just plays a good, consistent, clean game. And we've really enjoyed having him. But all those guys have been impressive. They're all very smart, do things the right way, and I love our room.
It was a little tough day for Brock, but it's really his first off season, being in training camp with getting all the reps. Where do you see him compared to what he was like last year?
Yeah, I think I've seen improvement. Even, you know, if he had a few picks today. In general, I feel like Brock has improved. You know, the confidence seems to be there more. The arm strength seems to be there a little bit more. I think, you know, putting the pads on, the pass rush starts to get a little more real. So it may take a day or two to adjust. But I'm not here to make excuses for Brock, so I'm sure he'll speak on that. But I expect only good things from him.
All right, thanks, Jason.
Yep. Thanks, guys.